Questions to the Prime Minister. Richard Burden.
One, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, this morning I had meetings with ministerial colleagues and others. In addition to my duties in the House, I shall have further such meetings later today.
Richard Burden.
As a constituency MP, as well as Prime Minister, my right honourable friend will, I'm sure, be aware of the real problems that people face with rising household bills, including rising fuel bills. And I wonder if he would share my assessment.
You've shot your fox.
Well, can I say, Mr. Speaker, that people on this side of the House are aware of the problems at people outside. Even the honourable ladies and gentlemen opposite do not. But would my right honourable friend share my assessment that whilst most people understand the roots of the problems they face are international in nature and therefore the room for any single government is limited?
Order. Let the honourable gentleman speak.
Well, I'd have also got a better grasp of economics than honourable gentlemen opposite. Whilst they understand that, do they also not want to be assured?
Order. I think the Prime Minister will be able to answer the question. Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we will continue to help hard-pressed families who are facing high fuel bills and high food prices because of what is happening in every country in the world. That's why we're raising the winter allowance for 11 million families from £300 to £400 for over 80s. That's why we're providing help for low-income households with their fuel bills. And in recognition of the problems that people face with petrol, we are freezing the duty of petrol for the full year. And we will bring forward further measures to help families in due course.
David Cameron.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's a wonderful thing. You don't have to finish a planted question to get a planted answer. Since this is the last Prime Minister's questions before October, can I take this opportunity to clear up some important issues? First, this week's relaunch was based around the plan to march knife criminals into accident and emergency departments to meet their victims. Can the Prime Minister tell me who came up with this bright idea?
Mr. Speaker, everybody must be concerned about the knife crimes. And everybody in this House must want to take all the action that is necessary. That is why we are proposing tougher punishment, tougher enforcement and tougher prevention. And on prevention, I think he would agree that the main thing that was proposed this week is this, that 20,000 families that are in great difficulty will have to sign contracts of good behaviour, and that 110,000 families will be subject to parental supervision. For the first time, we are taking all the antisocial behaviour families and trying to take action to deal at root cause with the problem.
But why can't the Prime Minister be straight with people and tell us who thought up the idea? The Home Secretary was asked on television. She was asked this. One of the proposals is that people caught carrying knives should be taken to see people in hospital who've been stabbed. Is that correct? And she answered, yes, it is. The next day, in the House of Commons, she was asked the same question, and she said, no, it wasn't. Doesn't the Prime Minister understand he won't get decent policies until he works out what went wrong last time? So let me ask him again. Who thought of this bright idea?
It is right that people should have to face up to the consequences, of their crimes. But I'm saying to him, and I hope there is all-party support, tougher penalties, tougher enforcement with visible policing in our communities and community support officers, tougher prevention. And the main proposal that we are putting forward is that every problem family where there is action that has to be taken should be subject to parental supervision. Now, I would have thought that should have the support of all the House.
Once again, absolutely no answer. No one owns up in this government. Let me try another issue. See if he can be straight on this one. It's car tax. The Prime Minister told me last month at Prime Minister's Questions that the majority of drivers will benefit from his changes to car tax. It is now clear that was simply wrong. So will he admit he was wrong and apologise?
I told him last week in the House and the exchange we had last week, and I told him this, that the majority will be no worse off or better off as a result of what happened. And if I may say so, the Conservative Party said they would support action against pollution. The leader of the Conservative Party said there will be tough choices to make for the environment, and I won't shy away from them for one moment. Now, Mr. Speaker, the principle is that the less polluting cars pay less, the more polluting cars pay more. That's what he said to the House, and what he said on 19th March 2007, telling people that you can go green without paying the price. That's not leadership, that's not substance, but that's what he's trying to do now.
This isn't a green tax, this is a stealth tax. I think the Prime Minister's got a nerve to lecture me on consistency. I said he was useless a year ago and I haven't changed my mind since. But once again, absolutely no apology, no answer to the question. Let's see if he can give a straight answer on something else. The government announced today that after months of dithering, it is scrapping the 2p tax rise on fuel. Can he tell us whether this decision had anything to do with the Glasgow East by-election?
Mr. Speaker, it is right to announce, as we have done previously, our decision before the House rises. And let me just deal with this VED point and then excise duty. The former Conservative environment spokesman, the chairman of the Commons Environmental Audit Committee, said if we are going to use bigger differentials in vehicle excise duty, they have got to apply to existing second-hand cars as well. And he said the principle is the right principle. Now, the Conservatives said, vote blue, go green. They said they were going to take action against pollution. The minute they're challenged on it, they walk away. That's the history of the Conservative Party.
The message is vote blue and get rid of this useless Prime Minister.
Mr. Clegg. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister promised to abolish boom and bust, but now we've got both. Inflation's booming, the economy's bust. Energy prices are rocketing, house prices are collapsing, thousands of jobs are on the line, and food prices just go up and up every week. When will the Prime Minister accept that a winter of discontent is just around the corner?
Mr. Speaker, I don't know if he's seen the employment figures today, but employment in this country is at its highest level ever. There are 61,000 more jobs in the economy during the last 3 months. And while, yes, there are problems, we have inflation lower than the rest of Europe and lower than America. We are taking action to help people through these difficult circumstances, which the previous Conservative government never did when there were problems. And at the same time, we are creating more jobs in this economy, and we have the flexibility to enable us to withstand events. I would have hoped he would see the economy in its proper context.
He's so out of touch, he doesn't understand the scale of the problem. 5.5 million British families in fuel poverty, and all he can squeeze out of the energy companies is 26 pence per week for each of those families. 1.7 million people on low incomes still waiting for a decent home, and his only feeble response is to buy up fewer than 1,500 empty properties. He's tinkering at the edges, obsessed with details. So will he take a summer break, take a step back, see the big picture, and come up with real answers to prevent a winter of misery for millions of British families?